Afternoon,
Hi.
friends. How are you today?
Hi,
We are
friends.
silent podcast where we are anything but silent. I don't know what I'm doing with my arms, but that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more reasons to watch us on the YouTube or the Facebook Lives. How are you, Mr. Davey Sack, my co-host with the most?
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm feeling pretty good. I had a really fun night last night
Mhm.
and a hard week. So just chilling, podcasting, and just feeling my oats today.
That's great to hear. That makes me so happy. Yeah, continuing our tradition of at least one episode a season, I record from a hotel room. I am
Yes.
currently in a hotel room from sunny Orlando, Florida,
Mm.
and I went to Universal yesterday. That was fun.
Yay.
Yeah,
That's very on brand for you. Very on brand.
I rode Hagrid's and had an anxiety attack while waiting because I'm not a roller coaster person, but I've been wanting to ride Hagrid's for years. And
Oh,
I was like white knuckling it on the seat, and I rode with my best friend who lives in Orlando, and you just see me in the photo ah.
I can totally see that. I
It,
didn't know you didn't like roller
oh,
coasters.
I love them in theory, but I'm so scared of heights and flipping. That's
Yeah.
real. Uh,
Yeah. Great job
but
facing your fears.
I mean, I never rode a roller coaster until 2019 when I rode the Mummy in Universal Hollywood. I ridden like
Yeah.
five in my life. Whatever. We can talk about roller coasters all day. It's like one of the things I
Yes.
love talking about, but I'm so scared to do. Oh,
Mm.
wait. Valencia's in the chat. Hey, Valencia. And
Valencia, you're
she's
doing a
doing a
5K
5K
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
You better
Yeah.
run. You better run.
Awesome. Yeah. And we got Troy in the chat saying hey to Davey and myself.
Hi,
Um,
Troy.
But we are so excited today because I can talk about roller coasters all day. But you know what? This isn't a roller coaster podcast. This is a Survivor New York podcast, and we are covering Survivor New York season 5, Bannerman Island. And oh my God, Davey, I am so excited about these guests today.
Yes, these guests, esteemed, very esteemed,
Gorgeous,
gorgeous,
great speakers,
super
good souls.
insightful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
um, good people, just good people.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a podcaster in our network. Both
Mm-hmm.
are RJP podcasters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and without a further ado, what's wrong with my voice today? I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm going to bring in our guests today, Gia Worthy and Jordan Kalish.
Woo!
Hey, everybody.
How are
Hello.
you guys today?
I had a good hair day so far, so it's a good start to my day. And yes, I did wake up at 10, so this is literally the start to my day.
Yes, I feel
Yeah.
I had a
Thank
bad hair
you.
day, hence the Wiggler's Wombats hat that I decided to wear.
that. Yeah, my hair is a little questionable. I put a backwards cap on today.
Oh my God, I didn't realize we were all wearing caps. I would have changed what I was
I'll
wearing.
put a hat on.
Only half
That's
of
cap.
us.
That's cap.
There we go.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow,
What a
that's
bunch
shady,
of
Mark. You
haters
can't.
here.
I'm gonna
Okay,
take my
so
hat
in
off
the
for
Cap
solidarity.
Alliance, Davey, Mark's the newcomer here. I think that we're going to the finals.
We gotta go to fire. We gotta go to fire.
Yeah.
Let's get him there.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm fourth place in this group of people. I
Yeah, you
do
shoulda-
feel a little left out. It's
Should have
very
had a
sad.
cap.
Very sad.
Yeah.
I was not informed about the caps. I was very late to the game. No one told me. It's very sad.
Next time you're on, we'll text you about the Cap Alliance, apparently.
Thank you. No, I'm going to wear a beanie because I'm going to be different. So if anyone wants to be a part of the Beanie Alliance, then please slide into my DMs.
Is a beanie
in
a cap?
the form of an immunity necklace.
No, a
Can you
beanie, a
consider
cap,
being a cap?
a cap has a rim. There,
Okay.
It's a very scientific process. And that, like Jordan, what you're wearing is a flat rim. And then a
Yes.
regular cap is the one with the curve.
Yeah,
Like there's
so flat
specifically
rim?
flat rim. Yes.
Let
So
me-
they're very so Davey has the controversial standard cap, and then Jordan has the flat rim. So that could be a bit of conflict in this cap alliance. Yeah. So there's two different. Mark, you got to make a decision now, like flat rim or cap. Like
Mark is trying to play both sides. I don't like
do
what's
you guys
want to
make
Mark
this easy
today.
and just vote Mark?
Yeah, I could vote out Mark.
We might have to.
Let's
Gia,
vote
you
out Mark.
convinced
I
us.
always get voted out early.
Hey, I'm moving on up in the world.
Let's
Davey,
see
we're
Mark.
going to the final two.
Davey,
So-
I do think that curve caps are better. So, if you want to do a side alliance, then
Let's do that. Let's do
yes,
that.
I think I
yes.
normally wear curve caps. This is the Wiggler's Wombats one. Just doesn't
I
curve
only-
that well.
So caps are very expensive, hot take.
Mhm.
And then I have a Yankees one, and I have one for St. Patrick's Day that is like
Okay.
very specific for drinking on St. Patrick's Day, and I think that's my caps for right now. Like that is my cap collection.
You get your cap.
My cap.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
cap.
Yeah, and I think that's the podcast. I think we've analyzed it.
Great.
Oh my God.
A cap is,
Yes.
a flat brim, a
A
beanie.
blaze of
We've
glory, y'all.
covered it all.
Yes,
We've done it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Jordan knows this, but my specialty in Mafia is going on unnecessary tangents to avoid actual strategy. So my plan has once again worked.
Worked. It
Gia's
worked.
sus.
100% efficiency rate.
Thank
Effectiveness.
you. Never
Well,
fails.
Well, yeah, let's. I guess we should start the actual podcast now that we've gotten that out of the way, right?
Yeah. So every podcast, we always ask our guest panelists this question. This season is Bannerman's Island, so there's this weaponry arsenal, yada yada yada. If you were a weapon, what weapon would you be?
Jordan, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna pick a weapon. So I had two in mind, and I think I'm gonna go with this one. It's actually not even a real weapon. It's a fictional weapon from the Song of Ice and Fire universe. I am a Valyrian steel sword, baby.
Oh,
wow.
I don't even know what that is. It sounds
Here's why.
dangerous.
Valyrian steel. First of all, it's strong, and I might be overrating myself here. I think I am, but it's a very powerful, strong weapon. Which I've done well in some of these like live game survivor challenges. But the main reason is a Valyrian steel sword. It takes in whatever makes it stronger. So, it's sort of like the sword of Godric Gryffindor from Harry Potter. So, much like that, it takes in what makes it stronger. Or am I confusing Godric Gryffindor's sword and a Valyrian steel sword? I don't know, but I feel like in the when I play Survivor or in life, I like to take in pieces of information. I like to learn things. I like to bring in the knowledge to make myself a better person and sharper. And look, as Coach once said, iron sharpens iron. So if I can make myself better by learning things, iron will sharpen my literal iron.
Knowledge is power for Kalish, huh?
Yeah.
That was an amazing answer. When you said Valyrian steel, I said, what? That was a great.
Okay, but before I go on mine, Jordan, what house from Game of Thrones are you partial to?
I thought you were going Harry Potter. House from Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah, and Harry Potter too. I'm very curious here.
Well, I know this is like a sort of a basic answer, but I feel like I'm sort of a Gryffindor, maybe with some Slytherin qualities as well. But I would say Gryffindor for my Harry Potter house. For my Game of Thrones house, I mean, look, I'm pretty partial to the Starks. I don't love the cold though, so I don't know if I'd be a Stark. And also they're a lot tougher than I am. I think I couldn't handle it. So maybe I don't think I'm a Lannister. I feel like the Lannisters are the Slytherins of the of Westeros. So I think I'm gonna go with like maybe a Tully. I could be a Tully. I like Stark. I could see myself as a Tully. I sort of have like the reddish hair that they have too.
Yeah.
I think if I were being cast in the show, maybe they'd make me a Tully. I could see that.
Don't you live in New York? Like, what do you mean you don't like
lives
the cold?
in New York.
I don't. Yeah, but I don't leave my house during the winter except to go to work.
Okay, I guess that's fair. Okay, I am a Ravenclaw, obviously. I'm just like always thinking, always witty, all of that, all the good things. And then house, without question, Tyrells. I love them. I'm obsessed with them.
Me too.
And none of them, Davey, my brother in Tyrell hood, like
yes.
What was it? And none of them deserve to die. And in a real world, realistically, none of them would die. If they all just listened to Marjorie, none of this shit would have happened, and we would have had a way better series finale, and it would have been great. So, yes.
Queen of Thorns, Olenna Tyrell, one of my favorite characters. And I've always said my grandma sort of reminds me of her a little bit. So I could maybe see that too.
I aspire to be Olenna Tyrell. That is like the plan moving forward. As I age gracefully into... Like I'll have to invest in those hats she wears, like the full veils, but I like that is goals. That is goals as we move forward.
Now, do you think Olenna Tyrell would look good in a flat rim or in a curved hat or a beanie?
I think she could do whichever she would want, but I think that Olenna would be. You know what? I think she would. Like she has a curve, like flat rim, like face to me because she has like those. I don't even know what they're called, like the veils that she has wrapped around her. But I would like to think that she would, she goes for comfort. She's a very smart lady. So I would like to think she would be on the beanie train with me. But let's be honest, she could do whichever she would like, and we would just have to deal with it because she's right in everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Did you get your weapon?
I did not. I was very excited to know. So I did. I was, thought a lot about my weapon. I almost went with a ninja star because part of it is I think it's a very fun weapon. It's like easy to carry, but then also like I had a very big South Park phase, and Kenny's my favorite character. And then when in the Good Times with Weapons episode, Kenny has ninja stars as his weapon, so I'm just like, yes, King, I love to see it. But I think I am going to go with brass knuckles because I think like I can be a very personable player in games like these, and like long range attacks. I don't have full faith in my abilities for a long range attack. Like those seem very difficult. My aim is not that great, but like right in the jugular, like up close and personal, like really get that impact in there. Like that's it. That's it.
Yes.
And I think I could actually, I have faith in myself to actually do damage with brass knuckles. So I'm going to say brass knuckles.
Hot. I love
Thank
that.
you.
I'm so scared of Gia. I'm very happy we're friends.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, that confirms, because we're House Tyrell, I'm going to confirm that my weapon is poison.
I love it.
Yes, I'm going to confirm that now.
It's
on
what
the pod.
it's what Mother Oleana would have wanted, Davey.
She mothered.
She mothered.
Tell your sister.
She mothered and then she died.
I think she grandmothered.
She
grandmothered.
grandmothered. She did.
She really did.
Yes, Queen of Thorns.
Yes, Queen of Thorns. I want a shirt. Can we make shirts that say that? Is that when are
Ask
silent
Isaiah.
podcasters
I bet
getting?
I'm gonna Google.
When are we getting merch? I would love to. I have so many phrases that deserve to be put on shirts
You
or
do.
hats or
We need
beanies.
yeah,
Beanies
like-
specifically.
There's definitely some things that we put together, Davey and I, that would be great for stuff too. So
Yes.
we gotta get Isaiah to make us a merch shop. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
Should we get started the episode proper?
Oh
We
yeah, there's
shall.
an
Probably we're
episode.
12 minutes
No,
There's an episode.
There is an episode.
This is the time for me to say I didn't watch it. So I'm just kidding. I did watch it.
We
I
were
was
like,
like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yes.
She read
we-
the wiki. She read the Survivor wiki entry.
she did read the Survivor Wiki.
Right, so here we are talking about last week's episode because there's an episode that dropped away. Dave and I will talk about that when I get back to New York after traveling. But we are doing episode 4, A Blaze of Glory. What a great episode title, and a great episode too. Yeah, so we start off with Paul Pell. Robin feels good about everything. They had the extra vote. Robin had a lie about the second vote and wants to trust Danny. And I actually think Robin's like in a better spot now than they were in the first few episodes. Like,
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. Now that I know we are getting a tribe swap next episode because of the previews for the next episode, my opinion on this is changing a little bit, but I love what Robin did here with throwing the vote on with throwing their second vote onto Andy. I love that. I think that is an excellent move on their part, but I was really worried for them when like the aftermath of that. So like if they lose another tribal council, are they going to vote out Robin next? That seems like from everything that we've seen thus far, like what the plan is moving forward. But seeing that Robin is getting support from outside influences in the other tribes, and they have a tribe swap coming up, I feel very strongly about Robin's chances in the game increasing at this point, and I love that for them. And I think that they are a very strong player and very persistent, and I love seeing this from them.
I really enjoyed seeing the mastermind moment where I think it's not intuitive when you get an extra vote during that time to split the votes. So it was really nice to see that strategical acumen come through from Robin there. It was really nice. And I think
because they found out when they got to the voting booth too. Like,
yeah, they did.
Yeah. So you have like
that's
10 seconds, really.
Yeah, you have to really be able to think on the spot and think about all the numbers. And I think what Robin did, that was, it was very strategic, because if the vote is going their way, then they're fine. They don't even need to cast the extra vote. But if not, if Ari is able to pull out an idol, then they could be in big trouble if like the one vote goes their way. So I think it was definitely the right move. And just socially within the tribe, I think we've seen some scenes with Robin and Danny where the two of them seem like they're closer than other people I think would expect on that tribe. And I also think now with a lot of the drama regarding the idol that was in Christian's bag that Andy found, I think there are some cracks in that maybe bigger alliance that we saw have power early on the Polypel tribe.
I like that you said found, like they didn't, like they stumbled upon, like they stumbled upon it.
Yes, they found it. Yes, they weren't trying to look through the back. But no, look, I've always been pro looking through people's bags in Survivor, which is why you got to keep that idol close, either in your bag, hide it somewhere else. I would not leave your bag alone if there's an idol in it.
Right.
Kalish keeps it in his mouth, right?
Yes, of course.
He keeps it in his flat rim.
Yes.
No, like I am very much pro looking through bags. Like if it's an opportunity there, I am checking everybody's bags like I am TSA. Like that is my job. You can do not tell me to not look through people's bags because it's unethical. That is a part of the game. Unless I have watched Survivor South Africa. There is literally a season where people can take idols.
Yeah, I remember that.
People's yes. Such a good season, by the way. But I think if it's in the rules, if you're able to do it, you should do it. I wish there was more looking through bags because it leads to drama like this. And keep if you can, I understand that we have seen some people what they are wearing during this game is not apt for hiding idols at some points. But if you can, keep it on your person because that is about the only way you're going to ensure that people don't do this. And I think as we have seen, these cast members don't care. They're going to look through bags.
No,
if you know
gamers.
If you know you're on a show with a lot of people that are prone to sticky fingers, definitely keep that in mind. But yes, I love Andy for looking through bags. Very pro.
Jeremy's not the only schemer in this game, despite what you'd assume from watching the episode.
Oh my god!
Am I allowed to share my special relationship to the Polypel tribe?
Yeah, sure.
You can.
So I was the Polypel tribe handler. So I was there for basically all of these. Say that again.
The erasure.
Well, we were the so yes, we were both the Polypel tribe handlers, and I could only speak for myself. I figured you would talk about that too. So yeah, Davey and I were both there for all of these scenes, and we there's things that I'm not going to say that haven't been on the episode, and of course I'm not going to say about anything that comes later. But I think this was a really fun group of people to film, and I think the interpersonal dynamics here are run deep, and I think all of these 5 people can make a claim for getting themselves into a good spot, some of them probably in a better spot. And I think that, pre people, going through the bag and finding Christian's idol, I think that you could maybe say Christian was in the strongest spot, being that, she and Danny were very close. I think she and McKenna were very close. I don't think there was really, maybe there was a little bit of lack of trust between Christian and Andy, but I don't think it was to the level that it is now that the idol has been revealed. And then I think maybe Robin is a little bit closer with Danny than they are with Christian, but I think that I don't think anyone was really going after Christian here. So I think that you can make a case for the fact that she's playing a really strong social game. And I think McKenna, who we maybe haven't seen as much, at least in this episode, I don't think we saw McKenna as much as we saw some of the other players, but is anyone bringing up her name? I haven't heard it yet. So I think that there are, and then Danny, I really like what Danny did here with when it comes to Andy. So Andy obviously is able to suss out the fact that the whole conversation where Christian, reveals her idol, he's able to suss out that was sort of contrived. And Danny, in a one-on-one conversation, he doesn't do it in a group setting, which I like. In a one-on-one conversation, he is able to, he tells Andy, yeah, that was, she came to us first. And, but I think he's doing it to try to keep his people close together, not to really throw shade on other people. So I think that he is doing a good job in those one-on-one conversations, making sure that everyone feels that he's their number, if not their number one, at least their number 2.
Right. I feel like if I was in a Kayla type situation where like I had voted against the group, I would be very scared of Pal because you have Andy who can literally like deduce who is voting for him and who's not. Like he literally was like, oh, it's either Kristen or Robin. And then you have Danny who's playing and is in everyone's ear, and like I think he has a great footing on the relationships in this crew. And then McKenna is being such a great bridge. I think having that person connect and then having that one-on-one with Danny was super important to keep the tribe together and happy.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying McKenna as a player. She's in my draft, so I do have a rooting interest for her as well. So, but I have some of the same concerns for McKenna that I know Isaiah brought this up last episode as well, about how McKenna seems to have all of this information, but what is she planning on doing with it as they move forward? And I worry about that because, like, where she's hearing about how Kristen has the idol, and like it seems like she is establishing bonds with everybody in her tribe, but I don't know, and we don't have to see what she does with it this episode because they don't go to tribal council. But like, what is McKenna's plan moving forward with this, and how does she plan on using all of this information that she's been working so hard to gather? And I don't know. I am a little worried about her. This tribe in particular is very interesting because of their dynamics, and it'll be very interesting to see how the tribe swap plays out, because I think that is the opportunity to really separate who in this tribe was just put in a really good situation at the beginning, like who got lucky with the tribe that they started with, and who can actually deal with, who can actually be a adaptable player, who can actually work with the change that is thrown their way.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think, I think what McKenna is doing of gathering all this information, it's sort of like the first piece in the puzzle. And I think, Gia, when you said it's like, it's her success in the game is going to be based on what she does with that information. I think early on, unless, the status quo is not good for you and you seem like you're on the outs, you don't really want to make waves unless you're for sure you're on the out. So I think that the fact that she's sort of, you see in her conversations, like, she's sort of like sidling up to everybody, I think kind of being everybody's best friend. I think early on that works, and you're right. Like we'll see what she's able to do socially with that capital going forward in the game.
Yeah, I want to briefly talk about. I know we're most of the time probably talking about Paul before later in the episode, but that Danny and Kristen scene was really interesting to me. And then like, I kind of hate how he said, "Don't be emotional" to her.
Oh yeah, I think that
I don't think he gave him a bad place, but it was like it's one of those things where I'm like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of Danny's quirks is that he's very controlling, but he doesn't know that he is. He kind of he kind of wants to dictate how things should feel and look, so that way the entirety of the group can be at like ease. And with that, like I think there was a conversation with Robin and him last episode, and then the Kristen and Danny conversation this episode. I just think that he's I think that he doesn't really play with emotion, and he's very tactical.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny is another player that I think right now he's playing very well. He seems to have a good grip on his tribe. I really liked seeing his how he goes from establishing his core group with McKenna and Kristen, and then also with Andy. Andy seems to trust him the most out of that group as well. And I found that really interesting, but I feel like Danny is someone that we have seen so far is doing well, but I also think he got kind of lucky with the tribe that he started with. And then like seeing someone like Robin, who I think is an excellent player, be on the outs of the core group of their tribe right away. I'm just like, I don't know what to expect moving forward, but I have a feeling just from what we are seeing so far that like Danny is eventually going to get caught in
something,
the web he is trying to weave right now. And I'm not like, I like, there are a couple players that I'm waiting to see, like, okay, when does everything go to shit for them? And I think Danny is one of the people that we could be seeing things go to shit sooner rather than later with him. But I think for right now, he has a really good hold on the current tribe. But the problem is they're about to do a tribe swap, which obviously they don't know right at this moment.
Yeah, and as kind of he's like like a not like a super big guy, but he's like an athletic guy, and I think a lot of times at a tribe swap, those people will get clipped at times if it's a bad number situation for them. And I could tell you, I've played 2 Survivor games with Danny, and what I could say about Danny's game, he is a very social player. He is good at making those early alliances, and I think that I in every game that I've played with him, he has made the merge. And what's happened post merge though is that I think that sometimes the close relationships that he makes have stood out and have been somewhat obvious to the other players. And obviously you want to have those alliances, but if your core alliance is obvious to everyone else, as the guy who everyone's going to be afraid of him winning immunity challenges because he is an athletic player, and he is I can tell you a very physical player. He is someone who has gotten clips somewhere around like that's right after the merge spot. So I think here I think he's done a better job of, yes, he and Kristen, I think, have maybe the closest alliance in that tribe, but I think he's doing a good job of making those one-on-ones with everybody else. Because when they swap, maybe everyone will see him and Kristen, but will they see him and Robin? I don't know. Will they see him and McKenna? I don't think so. Him and Andy might come off as a little bit more obvious. I'm not sure, but I think he has a good grasp on this tribe, and it's not just like, oh, him and Kristen trying to run the show together. I think that all of these people are trying to put their claws in everybody else.
Yeah, I do have a question though. So, like, how important is physical capabilities on LRGs? I've never played an LRG, but the challenges they seem so far, like, it doesn't seem like you need to be like an athlete to do well in these challenges, if that makes sense. So, like, how serious is like the challenge threat?
I think it depends
aspect?
on
like
cast.
It depends on the challenge, because you don't know what challenge is coming next. I think the challenges so far, dexterity and balance have maybe been a little bit more important. Puzzle capabilities, obviously. So it hasn't been like brute strength, and I think most of these live games, it's pretty rare to have like brute strength challenges. But I think that being a challenge threat, it's not just about like muscle mass, it's also about you're just like your agility, dexterity, your ability to concentrate, I think, which might be the most underrated, but maybe the most important skill in some of the individual challenges going forward. And I'm not saying this game, I'm not going to say like what type of challenges are coming up down the road, but just in live games in general, being able to concentrate on your task is so important.
Okay.
I think to your point, I don't think it's about muscle mass or your physicality. I think it's the ability to say what you like are good at and stick to it and see your competency in that. Like full transparency, I have voted out someone because they said I'm really good at digging and they lost the digging challenge. Like somebody said, "Oh, I can really run really fast and I can do this puzzle," which, volunteering for the puzzle, it's like, we just lost, so what do you want me to do? It's like, if you are confident in yourself, like, please advocate, and like, we'll put you there, and hopefully the strengths that you have can get us the win, and if not, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, for me, I also like LRGs will really mimic Survivor. Like, it depends on the cast. Like with the way that like how people get voted out and stuff like that, like about like strength and stuff like that. Like, like strength is always like in theory an important thing in the beginning, but after round 3, does that matter as much?
Are they eye candy?
Also very important. No. Expand on that. You're making a good point. Yes.
Go on.
I like keeping people that look good, but I also will never like isolate people, because I think every person is important in the game. Like, I love eye candy. Sometimes I'll be like walking to get water and I'll be like, oh my God, they're so cute, right? And then that's like that's a one-on-one leverage that you can have with another person to like garner that social capital while also indulging in like what you like.
Davey, I must play an LRG with you. Like,
we need that.
Absolutely.
We need that.
But only if I'm on the same tribe as you. I just feel
right.
We get along very well.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. I'm a proponent of keeping the tribe weak personally. I hate having to deal with challenge beasts and whatnot. And it sounds very, and if you are not winning challenges, then are you a challenge beast? No. So you have one
Ooh.
job.
So you're saying
Win the
Gia
challenges.
Gia likes to keep the tribe weak. Davey likes to keep the tribe hot. Mark, what do you like to keep the tribe?
Happy?
Okay.
Oh,
I could see that.
No.
That might be a good strategy. If the tribe's
strategy.
happy and you're the reason for that happiness, you might be safe.
I mean, like, you guys know I'm a goofy guy. Like, I'm not strong. I'll admit I'm really good socially.
You are
but, like,
strong.
You're goofy guy.
Okay, I'm not physically strong. I'm a big guy, but I'm not physically strong.
But don't tell them that. Say yes,
Yeah.
you are physically.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
I've seen
can
you.
move that.
I've seen you win that challenge where you got to knock over the thing on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Okay, I have strengths. But like, I don't think of myself as like a physically strong player. I think I'm more of a social player, and I like people that if I'm stressed out, I want to be around. You know what I mean? Like, I want people that can make me laugh. I want people that can keep it goofy, especially if it's like a not real Survivor game. Like, we want to be friends after this, right? Like,
Mhm.
like it's not real money. If it's money, it's like $200 at most, you know. But like, I don't know. That's like my mindset. Like, keep the tribe happy.
All right, Jordan, what do you want to keep the tribe?
I
Yeah.
want to keep the tribe loyal to me.
Oh, okay.
Boston Taylor.
I mean, look, but if I ever whenever I've gone to like pre-merge tribal councils, that's really my number one assessment. I care about, like, you know, I would like to win, because if you don't go to tribal, you can't get voted out. And if you don't get voted out, the further you get in the game. But I've also been part of challenge throws before to get people out that I didn't think would be would be like good for me later in the game. I'm not above that. So be loyal to Kalish, and then I'll want to work with you.
You know, honestly,
No.
to your point, Jordan, safety is hot. So let's keep
Safety
this
is hot.
tribe safe.
So let's keep it
loyal,
safe, hot,
hot,
happy, and
happy,
weak.
and weak. Let's do it.
This sounds like, oh man, it just seems like a
Dude, that was my Slytherin side coming out there.
Oh
Very
my
Slytherin. I'm very Hufflepuff.
I'm a
I'm
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
Yeah. But I know we discussed before, Jay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I knew that you were a Ravenclaw before you said. I'm like, yeah. Although I like Huff qualities because of being
Hey,
what I
so
am.
maybe I want to work with Hufflepuff. So if I want to keep them loyal, who's the loyal house? Hufflepuff.
Me, hello.
Yep.
No,
I do
Davey.
have-
I've seen you play, Davey. You're trying to win out there.
All right.
You might
Are
be
you
able to an extent.
Okay, so like,
Are you actually a
love-
Hufflepuff, or are
to
you
be-
just?
No, I'm okay. So I'm a Hufflepuff at heart. I really am. I love
Yeah.
people, but I have Slytherin tendencies because
Yeah,
I want
That's
to
fair.
win. I
And
remember
Survivor,
I put-
like
I
Survivor's
Yeah.
love
fun.
winning. Like, I just love winning things. I killed it at my jobs. Like, they have like a yearly fair in Western Mass called the Big E, and we did like Big E bingo there, and I demolished everybody. Like, it was
Nice.
such a good feeling.
You're like,
And I didn't win anything. Like,
Yeah.
I just love the idea of saying that I won something.
Yes,
That's great.
Big
Look,
fan.
I've seen Davey play before, and I will say, like, Davey played season 4. He started his journey with me picking him up from the train station.
Yes, he
I
does.
remember that we could only have like very minimal conversations because I think it was you and Billy Anslow in the car, who was one of the
Mhm.
other players, right? So we
Love
couldn't
Billy.
really talk. But we were. I was like, you know what, Davey seems like he and I actually thought the same about Billy too. Like, you both seemed like social enough people that like clearly were Survivor fans. Like, you could you could just tell from like a 5-minute car ride, or no, it's like a 15-minute car ride, whatever. But then at Davey, as you're playing the game, I wasn't your tribe handler, but once we
Mhm.
merged, I did start doing confessionals with you, and I remember thinking, first of all, he really wants to win, and I also remember thinking he really can win. And it, we're allowed to give New York 4 spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we
It
are.
didn't necessarily work out that way, but I think you were in a spot where if things, if people voted differently or if people were swayed differently, that could have definitely happened.
Yes. I thank you for not incriminating me, because it's not that I just want to win. I do know how to make like social relationships as well. And I think that for the most part, gathering that momentum was really important, but it's not about me.
It is, though. It kind of is. Like, you're a co-host on here. You can
Yes,
make it
you're
about
right.
you. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be indulgent for 1 second.
Yes.
Should we move to the Sopus?
Is it a Sopus that's next?
The Sopus is next. It's like
We're 34 minutes in. We haven't gotten to the tribe that went to tribal council this episode.
Well, they also like barely
I
even
see no
talk.
issues.
Well, like we're also like in like minute 10 of the episode right now because like there was so much about Paul Pell in the beginning.
That's true. Well,
And
no, we
there's,
really
like, 30
started as a
seconds
Harry
of soap
Potter,
is-
as a Harry Potter and Song of Ice and Fire podcast, and then we've become a Survivor podcast, and now we're going to be in a Sopus podcast.
So like Sopus, we only get like really two quick things about them. That like Sharif and Ed are talking about how they need to play fluid and smart, and then like Brienne's like talking about like how she wants the placement of Sharif in the game.
Oh yeah.
Like that's really all we get from them before we get to the stuff later on after the immunity challenge.
Wait, Brienne is saying when she said
Well,
that
she's concerned about
she wants to be in the position.
Yeah.
She wants to be in the position that Sharif is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? He's gonna he seems like such an obvious target. Like now that we are as we move further in the game. But like I get right now in the present.
I mean, she's had a very stressful pre-merge.
Yeah.
She has.
But you know what I like about Brienne's position in the
say.
game? I think that Brienne has gone from a spot where obviously if you feel like you need to play an idol at the first tribal council, it means you're starting your game in a little bit of a rough spot. But I feel like she's sort of been able to socially maneuver herself to where she's closer. Look, Ed and Sharif, I think, are still the closest duo on that tribe. We've seen that. That seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But I think she's been able to maneuver herself to a spot where I think she's closer to being in the power position with Ed and Sharif than she is in being like a 2v2 with maybe her and Kayla, or being on the bottom. I think that she's clearly closer to the top than on the bottom. And I think when you had to play an idol in your first tribal council to potentially to also getting votes, which can be very scary early on, especially in a 6-person tribe, I think she's maneuvered herself well where it not only, and to Gia's point about like, would you really want to be in the Sharif position where he's going to be seen as like, they've already talked about him as like the kind of like, I don't know if they've used the term, but it was like the king of the tribe, like King Sharif making all the decisions. In a swap situation, yes, she's close with the people that with the power position people on her tribe, and I think she would be considered one of those power position people, but she's also going to be seen as the person who's maybe the most willing to work with people from the other tribes because she did get votes early on, and she has sort of been in a tough spot. So I think in a swap situation, she's going to be someone who is an attractive ally to have, but also if she wants to just stay with her numbers, she's going to have that option too. So I think she might even have more options than someone like an Ed or a Sharif moving forward, where if they get swapped together and people are like, oh, we have these two guys that from this small tribe that seem really close, we might want to get one of them out.
Yeah, the thing about Brienne is that, like, yes, she had a terrible start to this season. Like, very bad. Did not handle the decision that she made particularly well. But the longer that she stays in, the longer that she outlasts a lot of these other players, the more she is like that her beginning start to the game will not matter. And I think that is like, she's doing what she should be doing at this point, in that like she is outlasting other players. I don't think if they went to tribal this time, that unless Kayla was taken off of that tribe or didn't have immunity or anything like that with the Bannerman Island twist, that I think that Brienne is probably staying in that regard. And I think that like she is going to be able to kind of find her comfort zone as they move forward, like what is the best position for her. And I don't think it's necessarily the same position that Sharif is in right now. I think she has to take what she has started the game with and then move forward to get a better position for herself. And I think that's going to look a lot different than what Sharif is doing. But I'm enjoying seeing like how the longer Brienne is in the game, the more she is like outliving that start to her game. And so I like seeing that perseverance and that resilience in players. Yeah. I do really just want like Kayla and Brienne to actually like go like, listen, if one of us goes and the other one is going to go next, like let us at least try to like force a tie or something. Yeah. Like obviously that's not happening now, but I just need them to like put 2 and 2 together and like actually start like doing something to try to flip the script for themselves. That's it. That's all I'll say. But yes.
And I think so, Gia, you're saying that she's right now she's in an alliance of numbers, but she should be trying to get in an alliance of comfort at the swap. Okay. Yes. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yes.
I do think she's been the player who has improved her early stock to this point better, more so than anybody else who started in a tough
Oh,
spot. I think
100%.
she's started from the bottom. Now she's here.
Yes.
We love it for her.
We do love it.
Hey,
for
she's
her.
my winner pick. So
I think that it's so interesting, the juxtaposition between how Brienne is now versus how Kayla is now. Kayla's like grasping at straws, and I think that her like just pure survival to just want to stay is like very apparent. And yeah, it's just it's so interesting to see both sides of the coin.
Here's the thing,
Fingers
though,
crossed.
and I know it's like, if I'm the other three people on the tribe, and Kayla clearly feels like she feels she's on the bottom. She knows she's on the bottom. She knows that, Sharif made it very obvious at that conversation in the previous episode at the picnic table that she was the plan A. So I think that Kayla at a swap, is going to want nothing to do with I would be very surprised if she wants anything to do with Ed and Sharif. Maybe she'd work with Brienne, because I think she feels like maybe Brienne had to sort of jump on the train with Ed and Sharif, because that was where the power was in the tribe. But I think that if you're any of the other three, I really would want Kayla out of the game. And it's nothing against Kayla. Kayla's a friend of mine. So I'm not saying, I'm not talking about her as a person. I'm talking about her as a player. Because if I'm one of the other three, I'm thinking like, how is Kayla ever going to trust us going forward in this game? I might just want that person out before we get to a swap or before we get to a merge, because I can see her going to the other side of the numbers, which for Kayla is definitely the smart move, because why work with these people who have kept you out of the loop this whole time when there's going to be people that you could, pull in from these other tribes. So I think just as players, like it's sort of, I don't see this as like a four that could go forward and really work together. I think that if you're the other three people, it would be nice to, it would be cool to see like Brienne and Kayla force a 2v2, but why is that good for Brienne? I don't think that would be a good move. I think it would just be fun for the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Exactly.
I can't wait for Kayla. Yeah, I can't wait for Kayla to be like, "Fuck y'all."
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just it's coming at this point because she's so aware of what her position in the game is. I'm just wondering, I wonder if this was discussed with them at some point of like the potential of throwing a challenge to get rid of Kayla while they can. I know the Bannerman Island twist kind of throws things for a loop, because I do think that there is a chance that Kayla would get pulled over to another tribe and then not be a part of that boat. But I don't know. I don't see this as like a good thing for the other three to keep Kayla in the game, especially since I feel like there is an outsider in each tribe could really screw things over as we are getting into the swap.
Yeah.
If you're Ed and Sharif, I think I don't know if throwing the challenge is the right move here. I think I did say before, you probably do want Kayla out pre-merge, but I think there's a way to do that in a swap tribe. So I don't know if you're in Sharif. I do see the logic of throwing a challenge. I don't think it makes so much sense for Brienne though, because if you throw the challenge to get Kayla, you don't know necessarily. We know when the swap is because of the next time on Survivor, but they don't really know when the swap is. And if they throw a challenge, there's three of them left. If I'm Brienne, I'm not. I do not want to go to a tribal council with Ed and Sharif. If I'm not, nobody would be immune there. That would be a bad situation. So I don't think. I think there's only two people on the tribe who it would sort of make sense for, but I think there's a way there's a way to get Kayla if you swap with her, and if not, she becomes, I think, a dangerous player to you post merge, and maybe you would have wished you had done that. So I'm sort of of two minds here.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we talk about Iona pre-immunity?
We don't have to do an Iona. I think we could.
I think I just want to bring up the fact that can we just talk about how long every walk to Tree Mail is? Every time we see them walk, they walk they walk a tenth of a mile from their camp to Tree Mail, and then they walk back. That's all we get from Iona pre-challenge. But it's just every time you see them, they're walking 100 feet at least to Tree Mail.
I almost think the pre-challenge stuff for them is, it's interesting because you get to see some of the relationships and some of the character scenes, but I almost think it's almost becomes irrelevant once Stan gets kidnapped, because it changes the whole power on the tribe. That was a huge. I don't even know what Blue realized they were doing there, but I think it really changed the course of the game that Stan wasn't a part of this vote.
100%.
Okay, let's talk about this challenge. It was so they only had such a small spotlight that I was like, let's get into the challenge.
Yeah. All right. So it's they have a board with 4 strings on it, well, 4 ropes on it, and they have to move a cue ball 200 feet
To
maybe
somewhere else.
to somewhere else, and put get in the ball, get in the bucket twice, and then at the end they have to knock over 4 targets with beanbags. Iona starts us off really good.
Great lead by
Like
Iona.
they get it in their second try, and then they get close like 100 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was they seemed like some of them were, I think,
They
maybe
looked
getting
pissed.
frustrated at each other. I don't even frustrated each other, frustrated themselves. It was not, and it's weird because usually for a skill like that, once you figure out the trick of how it works, usually you're going to end up finishing first, and they end up just like forgetting what they did, I think, for the first leg of the challenge and coming in last. And it was really, I remember watching this in real time and thinking, oh, Iona, first of all, they haven't lost yet. They're clearly the challenge tribe here, and they're in a big, they have a big lead in this challenge. So I thought either I was going to tribal with my green tribe and Davey, or Esopus was going back, which would have been really scary, I think, and I didn't know what the dynamics were on Esopus were watching it live, because I only see what's happening on Polypel. So I thought it was going to be one of those 2 tribes going. It ends up being Iona here.
Esopus has become the challenge tribe though since their second elimination, because I think they come in first every challenge after that. By a large margin too. Like this was a definite like big win. Like they were done with the targets before Polypel even got their second ball in.
I love this challenge. It was hard as fuck. I think also, correct me if I'm wrong, or if this is just my view, I felt like this challenge took forever. Like it took maybe like 15-20 minutes, and something that we don't see, and this is, I guess, an unpopular opinion, but if I was on Iona and Stan was yelling at me, and Andrew was blocking the bucket, and Jeremy was like, "Come on, guys, let's like," I would like rip my fucking hair out, because
I'd be so irritated.
I would be so irritated. I was like, y'all need to check your feelings right now and get this ball into this bucket, and like let's win, because it was getting really hectic.
I may have gone, like, we have Coach Andrew on this tribe. I'm also a coach. I may have gone into complete coach mode and started like losing my shit here.
Yes.
But Stan was doing that for you.
Yes.
So. Almost smarter than nip slip count, but not.
I don't know any part of this challenge that I would actually be good at. So I feel for Iona in this moment, and just like, this seems like a very difficult challenge. But also, I would be super irritated if for the peanut gallery at this point. It was just like, everyone just shut up and let me try to not go to tribal council, please. Like it's too much, too stressful. I think sometimes, and like that's part of just what happens in events like this, but like sometimes the support or like encouragement is just not helpful whatsoever.
Naomi's joined the chat.
Yeah.
Naomi has entered the chat.
Yep. Yeah, right there.
Hi, lovelies.
Underreported, I am a avid Naomi Calhoun fan.
She's fine.
She's great. How dare you? Take him out here. Let me take him out the chat there.
Oh, that's right.
You can take me out.
I have that power. I have access to the silent pod. Wow. That was their first mistake.
Wow. Love that.
I wouldn't have said that if I knew you had that power, because I knew Mark and Davey wouldn't have done it, but I could Gia, that makes sense. No, I'm a Naomi stan as well. Big fan of Naomi. We go way back.
Oop. Also, this is like a minor detail, but it cracked me up. Robin is very attached to their hat, but that hat was stuck on the post because they were so focused on getting the ball into the bucket. I was like, you go.
Can we talk about the tactic that Polypel used to like I love how like seeing like Kristen and them all like being like this close to the ball, like being like, don't you fucking move, ball. Don't you fucking move.
I was really worried for them.
But yeah, they did great. I think if I did this challenge, I honestly would really want to be on the throwing team. I'm actually pretty good at throwing things. But
nope, I'm all set. Can't relate.
It's one of those weird skills I've picked up in my life. But Naomi as EP just
This
shot
challenge
out
was
that
a
it was a
mess.
mess. So
And hi
I w-
Liskus, Survivor New York season 4 player.
yeah, so Sopus with their win, they can kidnap anyone. It seems that they were choosing between Annie and Stan, if not
Stanny.
mistaken. Stanny.
Stanny.
Yeah, Stanny for Stan.
Mhm.
And they choose Stan, and because he may be open to working with them. He is.
I like that they're thinking about the long game.
Yeah.
And I also am like inside just like loving the equity and having the equal trips to tribal. Like, I mean, obviously Esopus has already gone twice, but it's nice to see, you know, not one tribe just going to tribal back to back.
But also, like, they've become so good since their second tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
They're a
Like-
well-oiled machine. I think it's desperation. I think desperation is something that could help you in these challenges because you once you
Yes.
get down to 4, you really don't want to go again.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't. So that's why we're not going again, right?
Yes.
We're not going to tribal.
I mean,
That's
I'd be
all.
the first gone out of y'all because I don't know who I'd vote for because I love you all. So
Oh, that's ammunition. No,
I'd
you
vote
need
for
to make a
Gia after
decision right now.
for kicking me out of the chat before.
Davey, do you want to remember the Curve Cap Alliance? You know, like
Curve caps.
you want,
Yeah.
you want to vote. You want to vote for Kalish with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
Let's
Mark. You
let's
see what
do
th're
it.
doing
All right,
here? They're
Mark,
setting it
Mark,
up. Mark
This
is
is the
Mark,
question. We're not
Me too.
doing
We're going
it
to fire.
Listen,
We're
Mark.
going to fire, Mark.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
Mark, you can either go to fire or you can join us in voting out Kalish. It's math.
Mark,
Gia, why don't we just do Edgardo?
Can we do it? Yes.
Yes,
We can do with that. Okay,
Okay.
Stacey Kimball,
Yes, Stacey Kimball.
you
Oh.
crazy Gallio.
Yes.
But
That
we
was
gotta
the first
try.
time that I
Yeah.
was so gagged. Drag Kalish F4. Oh,
Naomi said it's
I can see
okay,
it.
so
I mean, at least Final Four isn't a eating challenge. I think
Well,
that
Final
that
Four
would-
is an eating challenge. I would be immune. So
Yes, you would be immune.
But anyway,
Drag Kalish.
Purple Tribe, Iona. They're in trouble.
Okay.
They don't have Stan anymore, and we only have 4 people left.
Well-
We have Annie.
okay.
I
Veronica.
want
Tribe
to.
is
Well,
a
we
mess.
should talk about Stan at Esopus before we get there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot that happens there. Like
Mhm.
Paul Pellet pretty much is like the first half of the episode again, like with them being like all like reassuring everyone that like, yeah, I got your back, nothing's changed. But like,
I will say on Polypel, I love the group of 4 coming together and being like, let's do this, let's be together, and then walking away and he's like, I don't still trust this fucking person. Like,
yeah.
Kristen lied to me. She lied to me, and I'm not going to forget it.
I do love like when we get to this open. So like Ed's like, I had a hero moment. I've had one of those before. They're the best feeling in the world as a person to get many hero moments.
And you got the slow motion throw.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I actually was watching the episode with that, and Ed was very happy that made it into the final cut.
Yes, Ed.
We love a hero shot.
I do love a hero shot.
And then Stan's okay that he lost the challenge because no matter what, Iona would be like, because the whole like Iona was going to be at 6 no matter what if they didn't lose, and that'd be a big target. It makes sense.
Hey, Stan.
So Stan, I see you're in the chat.
Stan, I do a shot every time we see your nipple, so I was wasted.
He's
Not
drunk.
today. There was
He's
not that many
drunk.
nipples today. There was not many nipples this episode.
But something that we haven't put into consideration and we need to like add into the TikTok. What?
Hotel chairs are fun.
Oh yeah.
Continue
Something that
talking.
we haven't added into the nip slip count is the TikTok. Survivor New York TikTok has Stan's nipples, so I think the count is now 14.
I'm sorry, what?
The Survivor New York TikTok handle is actually at Stan's nipples.
Yeah, at Stan's nipples.
This is
And,
so
and
awesome.
again, hi Stan. But I think Stan here. So I do understand like he did have that confessional about being fine with losing the challenge. I think you want to see. I mean, I think for him, you know, being kidnapped, yes, it makes you safe. But I think if I'm in Stan's spot, I don't know if I want to be kidnapped there. I think it was the right decision for the people on the Esopus tribe because they felt like he's someone they could work with later in the game. And as you said, Davey, they're trying to forge that relationship going forward. I think if you're Stan, though, you sort of are okay with going to tribal here because I think with his relationships on that tribe, I think he would have correctly assumed that he was probably safe going to this tribal council, and then you could sort of dictate things the way you want. And I think it's pretty. I don't think Andrew goes here if Stan's in the game. I think those are two people that wanted to work together, and I think Stan had enough sway to make that happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I also love that moment where after Stan's kidnapped, he's like watching Iona scramble, and Ed's just like, get out of range. And he's like, get out of range. I don't care. He's like, I'm sitting pretty.
yeah, like he talks
Oh.
about like how like he like was talking about like thinking about throwing the challenge and stuff like that. And he's like he kind of starts throwing Jeremy hard under the bus like in his confessionals here.
He's a schemer. He's a schemer.
Schemer.
I
Planting
literally
the
like
seeds.
there's
Planting the
like if you
seeds.
did the schemer drinking game, like between Andrew saying schemer like 100 times in this episode and just hearing the word schemer related to Jeremy, you would be shit faced in the last 10 minutes of this
Hey,
episode.
to be fair, Jeremy does wear glasses. So per his casting archetype, he is a schemer. So I think it makes sense. No, but here's the thing. I mean, I think that Jeremy is a schemer, and I think that this tribe, everybody's a schemer. I do think that when you get the schemer the schemer moniker around camp, I think it means maybe your planning and your scheming has become a little bit too obvious. But I do think everyone is thinking about the game on this tribe. I don't think there's anyone who isn't scheming. And Andrew in his confessionals talking about Jeremy being a schemer, he's like, you know what, I'm a schemer too, which I really like, because it's not saying, oh, he's a schemer and that's bad. It's he's a schemer, and I think he might be scheming against me, and I see him doing it, and for that reason, I
must scheme against him before he schemes against me.
I don't think Jeremy's been a schemer at all.
Do you just want to be different, Davey? Is that
No,
what this is?
Davey is
Okay.
different.
That was very
But
facetious.
I do love
Okay,
how
Jeremy's a schemer.
Stan brings up that like that Jeremy is a lawyer and works for the New York Democratic Party. As a like,
Yeah.
as,
You could do
like,
two things. He is the president of the Manhattan Young Democrats. Am I supposed to say that? Can I say that out loud? I mean, if you Google the Manhattan Young Democrats, Jeremy's the president of the Manhattan Young Democrats, which is an organization I'm a member of. So yeah, he could do both. He could do both things.
I also just love like how obviously of a good spot Stan is in, like when while like everyone in the soap is like, I love you, work with me, basically.
Yeah. I think he did some really good work in that night zero, where that's the time you don't even know who's going to be on your tribe yet until much later in the night, and that's sort of when you can have conversations with people. Which any conversation when you first meet in a Survivor game, even if it's not about the game, and probably a lot of these conversations, I'm guessing, we're just kind of like get to know yous. I think any of those conversations that you have with people, even if they're not about strategy, are strategic. And I think Stan excelled in that part of the game where he really was able to, make connections with people that can turn into game relationships.
Naomi with
I would
commentary.
die for Stan.
Everyone would die for Stan. And then, of course, I can't remember my own tribe's name.
Drag
that
him.
energy.
Yeah.
No,
I think Paulapel and Asopus are both more memorable names than Iona, to be fair.
I feel like Iona is the one that I actually remember, like, because that is so easy to remember. I cannot pronounce the other two for the life of me.
I just think of the actress Paula Pell when I was thinking of Paula Pell.
Yeah,
Palapa.
yeah. But the falafel. Oh, I like
falafel.
that. That sounds fun.
The
I like
falafels.
Falafel.
But also, Stan does get the episode title here when he's talking about how he thinks Jeremy's gonna go out in a blaze of glory, and that's what he hopes for. So.
I'm really bummed that we don't get we did not get any confessionals in the day zero or night zero, whatever it is, because it seems like, Stan did a lot of really good work there, especially with talking about like the dragonflies. And I think people are really looking to him, like Kayla in particular, even though she's not in the dragonflies alliance, that she's looking for Stan as like a possible ally, like a possible helping hand, especially with a tribe swap on the horizon, because she is just like, she needs allies somewhere and she is not going to be getting it in her own tribe. And I think it seems like he left a really positive impression on everyone on the tribe he got kidnapped to.
David, were we even filming that? I don't even think that day zero was filmed. I don't think it's even like been left on the editing floor, but it is a part of the game. I think it's just kind of it is the game, but they're not in tribes yet. And I think that a lot of those scenes would have just been, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? But it would have given, I think, us a good idea of like who was most active during that time. And I mean, like,
it's important to like how people make friends. That like that's the time to make friends. Like, You know what I mean? It's like that, not like, hey, I need to work with you because we're gonna be in the same tribe. It's like, hey, I don't know you. Let's become friends. Like that. That's the way. If you have a night zero, that's in my personal opinion the most like that's a way to use a night zero in a good way.
By the way, we thought that that Facebook Naomi was cool. We have YouTube Naomi in the chat now. Hi, YouTube Naomi.
I love that for us.
You know, I think Night Zero
2 Naomis for the
is
price of one.
Night Zero is a great time to like suss out if people will zig with you or if they zag against you. That's like one of my favorite things to think about. Like I remember on my Night Zero, we were just sitting around like playing this game. It was the movie game where you name a movie and then you name an actor in that movie.
Oh, I
and,
just so good. Like,
yeah, and the people that like really were ready to like answer, and they were like, oh, you know what, I don't know, but like somebody help me. Like those things were really great informal pieces of, I guess, evidence to see if they would be a good ally. And then there were people that didn't want to play, and I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. You can't escape, Mom.
You can.
that
would be the horror movie written about Naomi's relationship with all of us as like Survivor live game people.
Right. You can't escape, Mom.
Yeah. I could see Chris's backyard and that tent being the scene of a pretty scary horror movie.
I do have a lot of footage of Day Zero. It's in the drive.
We do.
But I think after we were pulled in to have our crew meeting, that's when I like stopped, and it was like kind of in the height of like, let's start talking about game, but also like let's start to sleep, because I think at that point it was like 11:30.
Night's just getting started at that
Night's
point.
just getting started.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like stand up till like 4 a.m. or something I heard?
I don't know. I personally love my sleep, and when people don't want to sleep, I'm like.
But also, like, for me, I'm like so scared of you snoring so loudly that everyone doesn't get sleep and I'm the asshole. That's my nightmare.
Yeah.
But
David, we did our cast our crew draft when we went into the house later. Do you remember? I think we each got 3 people. Do you remember your 3 people?
I do, but I'm not gonna say because.
Okay, I guess we'll. I mean, I do remember my 3. I mean, it was before the game, so I don't know if it's actually going to reveal any information. Or maybe it's something that we should reveal afterwards. Maybe if
yeah.
So far, not
so fat. No, I think she's curious of everyone's game so fat.
So fat. So far.
Thanks for clearing that up, Naomi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naomi. I love YouTube Naomi. I'm also a big fan of Facebook Naomi. Just like in general.
All the Naomis are fantastic.
All the Naomis.
Exactly. Jordan, stop getting on the Naomi Calhoun stan train. We were there first. Okay. But yes.
Everything everywhere all at Calhoun.
Yes. Oh my god. I would watch that. Give it all the Oscars, please. Okay, yeah. But I mean, so we're on Iona now, or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Iona.
Unless anyone else has anything else to say about Esopus.
No, other than I want to give Kayla like some shine because she is readily to throw out names. Like some people are really skittish. Hi, I'm kind of skittish, but like I'm more of a co-signer. I don't usually like give names first unless like I feel really strongly about something. So shout out to you, Kayla. Naomi thing, Naomi wear all at once.
Again, perfect movie.
Perfect movie.
Yeah. But you know what I think what I think this Purple Tribe came down to? I think you have the most. I mean, I think that you have Veronica and Jeremy, who everyone sees as a duo. It's clear. I think it's pretty clear that even though they've never voted together before, and Jeremy made that point that they are working together. And let's take Stan out of the equation because he's not part of the vote. I think he is I think aligned with everyone at this point, and he could have gone whatever direction he wanted. But you have Andrew and Julia, who I think are maybe duo-ish, where they're they're definitely having conversations. I think they are. I think Stan sees the 2 of them as 2 of his closest allies in the tribe. I don't know if they're necessarily as tight as Veronica and Jeremy, and I think that we see that based on Julia's eventual vote for Andrew. But that sort of puts Annie in the middle here. And I think when you have one person in Annie who you might look at as sort of a swing vote if Andrew and Julia had wanted to vote together. But I think you have Veronica and Jeremy, who are maybe the tightest duo of the 5 that are participating in this vote. And I think that other players could potentially see that strength and say, I'm going to go with the sure thing. I'm going to go with the duo that I know is voting together, as opposed to Andrew and Julia, who you maybe say to yourself, yes, they're sort of working together, but are they really a strong alliance? And do I want to attach myself to more of the closer bond or to the people that aren't as close? And I think that there's, I think there's logic to both. I think that you say Veronica and Jeremy, yes, I'm working with a tight duo, but are they going to want to clip me at some point because they see each other as their closest ally? But I think this early in the game, that's not so much of a concern. Where and Andrew and Julia, I think if you're Annie and you attach yourselves to them, you might say, oh, I could be able to maybe be the power in that alliance. But this early in the game, do you want to be the person who's looked at as the person bringing everybody together that can make you a target at a swap or at a merge?
Mm-hmm. I think you brought up some really great points, because it's like, do you pad yourself with a known duo knowing that they are going to move forward together and be at least like a little bit of a buffer in the voting order than you? Or do you break up that duo and potentially like isolate someone who then can like cause some retribution and like get you later?
I don't know. So like, obviously I am really good friends with Andrew, and this vote made me very salty, especially since I really don't think it would have happened if Stan hadn't gotten kidnapped.
Totally.
But
Salt Queen's rise.
yeah. So anyway, but I think like on a surface level, it's just like from what we have seen so far, Jeremy and Veronica are not playing a stealthy game at all. They are very obvious about their intentions, but the issue that comes up from that is like, yeah, what kind of game you're playing, good. But I don't think they recognize just how obvious they are to everyone else, and that is where they are going to have their downfall. They seem very comfortable in the current position that they are in. I don't think they actually recognize how lucky they got with Stan not being in this vote. And that's going to be the thing that screws them over. And also, I don't think if they're going to vote out Andrew, if they were going to vote out someone that they are not as closely aligned with, I don't know why they wouldn't go for Julia. If you're going to blindside someone in this group, like blindside the person with the idol. She is not going to use that idol for you. This is not the tribe idol, despite you all pretending that it is. Like, does anyone actually believe in tribe idols at this point, especially in a game like this? Like, come on now. But this is not like, and I loved Julia in this segment here because she just realizes how fucked she is in this scenario. But I don't think they voted out the correct person to get themselves on a better position for themselves. But Jeremy and Veronica, to me, like what we have seen so far, are just incredibly overconfident and have just one other person been like, if their entire tribe was there to vote them out, I do not think they would both still be here right now. Like that is kind of like the issue I am having with their games right now. I don't really think it was like I don't think they're playing particularly strong right now. And I think as soon as we start getting into like these swaps or into these situations where they're not going to be as well cushioned in their tribe, they're going to get screwed over, especially when we saw the confessional last episode about how Jeremy thinks he's not a big threat, but he is worried about his tribe being a big threat. Like, sir, the minute Iona fractures here, they're going to know your business. Let's be real here. And I am very salty still that they voted out Andrew. Like, let that be that on the record, public information there. Iona, your days are numbered. Julia can stay.
Gia, I think to your first point about the decision to go for Andrew instead of Julia, I think that it does make sense, at times to go for the person who is holding the idol, because you get, if you don't trust Julia down the road, which if you're Veronica and Jeremy, I don't really know what their thoughts on of like how far they think they could trust Julia. But I think there is also benefit, especially going into a swap, of knowing where the idol is. And if you vote out Julia, that idol presumably goes into circulation. and then anybody else in the game could find it. You could get really lucky, and you could be the one who finds it, and then that's great that you voted out Julia. But that, in a swap tribe where they don't know who they're going to swap with, that idol could find itself in anyone else's hands, and I think I think that's something that maybe could play into the decision. And I think that to your second point of Veronica and Jeremy, being too obvious, I completely agree. I think that they have become close. I think they're two people who, just talking to them, it's very, and I'm friends with both of them, so I know this for a fact. It's like, when you're playing games with them, and I have played a lot of games with them, they're very intense, very competitive, and they sort of like ooze that, strategic acumen. So I think that it comes off very strongly with the two of them. So I think from the other people's perspective on the tribe, if you have two people that are a very obvious duo and they're also very obviously strategic, I almost think that's like a train that you want to get on. You might want to cut them at some point, but I think down the road, if you have two people like that are seen as kind of a close pair, I think it's going to be very easy to get numbers turned on them at some point in the game. And I think maybe that's what Annie and Julia were both thinking to get rid of Andrew. Having said that, I also am going to miss Coach Andrew. I love him on the show. He's someone who has become a friend of mine since the season. And we loved him from I was on the casting team from the season, and we all he was like a shoo-in from the second we saw his video. So I think Andrew, I agree that, if Stan's there, I kind of think what happens here, I think that maybe there's a vote split on Jeremy. Well, no, there's not going to be a vote split because they know that Julia has the idol. So I think either Jeremy or Veronica goes here. I think it seems like Jeremy is maybe the one.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, Annie does have a confessional where, yes, she says she's close with Stan, but she also seems to want to work with Jeremy, and she views Jeremy as someone who she trusts. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do think that Andrew is saved here, and it probably would have been one of them.
Yeah. I'm very confused on what Annie's gameplay is going forward also, and I'm excited to see if we get more of her as we get into the tribe swap, because early on it did seem like, okay, if they lose like day one, she's going to be the one that gets voted out, but now people have gotten time to be more comfortable. It's just like, we know she's there, we know she did want to work with Stan and Jeremy in Iona, but I'm interested to see how our game adapts once we start getting into these different scenarios that we've been I haven't seen the next episode yet, so like the hypotheticals on what's going to happen, but like I feel like she needs like some goal or something to like really solidify the like type of game that she wants to play moving forward, and I haven't seen that yet. And obviously there are still a lot of people left, so there's a lot of perspectives to get in, but I really haven't seen anything strategy specific from her yet.
And I think Gia, I think Andrew's best play could have been going after Annie here instead of going after Jeremy, because you have you have that thing where you have this tight duo, and like I said before, I think people sometimes gravitate towards that to get themselves in the numbers. But I think if Andrew had said, let's say I want Jeremy out at some point, but I need to keep myself safe, maybe bringing in Julia, bringing in Jeremy and Veronica, and saying, look, we have Annie, we don't really know where her head is right now. I don't know if Jeremy and Veronica would have been on board for that, but I think that it's something that maybe they could have considered if Andrew had come to them with that plan.
Yeah. I think in some ways, like in the pre-season interviews where Andrew says he would like fall on the sword for someone, I think in some ways he kind of did, because he really was adamant on wanting to target Jeremy, or at least that's like not a woman. It's like
it's such a great episode for Andrew, even though he's the one that goes home. Like, he's such a great narrator for this whole aspect. Like, I also love holistically that like watching him and Jeremy talk to each other, and they're like obviously lying through their teeth and not even looking at each other. Like, they're like, we're gonna vote for Annie. We're gonna vote for Annie. Cool. I trust you. And I'm like, wow, these people do not trust each other. They're clearly going out. Like, every time I've ever seen confessional, people like at least look in the same direction. They're not even looking towards each other.
I think it'd be interesting if the two of them were on a tribe with other people. Could like Are they just Jeremy and Andrew? Are they people that would ever work together on a tribe together? And I think that like they just gave off like weird vibes to each other, and maybe they're just maybe they just like wouldn't have worked together in any scenario, which is funny because they're two people who when I talk to them about Survivor, like they're both Survivor nerds.
Yeah,
they both love the game. They're both people that I'm friends with who I could absolutely see working with in one of these games. It's just maybe like. They just didn't mesh, but maybe thrown into a different scenario. Maybe they could have been closer together. I think it just completely depends on the makeup of the tribe.
I also like really love like how well the editing was with the shift of like Jeremy's going home, and then Andy's like, Jeremy's my number one, and you're like, oh. Okay.
Well, my number one, except for Stan, who's not on the tribe right now.
But like he's my number two.
But it's that thing of like we get so little Andy content in general, and then she drops that bomb on us. Like, oh, okay, okay,
yeah. I think
it was very Survivor 41 with everyone knows Jeremy and I are close, and it's like when.
Yeah. When I do agree with you, Gia. This vote didn't really make sense. Hashtag Salt Queens Rise. I haven't hashtagged a lot during this episode, but I'm a firm believer. Like, if you're salty, feel your salt. That is the only way that you're going to decompress. When you're lying to people and you're like, oh, no, it doesn't bother me. You're going to see about it for another year. Like, just say how you feel. There's no harm in saying how you feel.
On this podcast,
when in doubt, don't be... Oh, sorry. When in doubt, don't be the bigger person. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, terrible.
I'm not going to be the bigger person. Now my vote is in your hands, bitch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So David, what I was going to say is, so far on this podcast, you've talked about feeling your salt and feeling your oats. What other foods are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling my coffee. Ooh. I'm feeling the hydration. I'm feeling like a big breakfast after this podcast is done.
The Davey spotlight. Davey, is that Essence water? Is that it's like the ionized water?
It's Essentia. This actually like after this podcast brought to you by Essentia Water. This is such a hydrating water. They all hydrate, obviously.
I brought that to Yankee games before, and like like a hot game where you're sitting in the sun. I feel like it's sort of like it gives you the it's what is it, electrolytes? I think it's electrolytes.
Yes,
it's like drinking a Gatorade, but it's water. There's no calories.
Like
this podcast has been brought to you by Essence Water.
Maybe not to like fuel just how good on a tribe we would be together, but I am also drinking Starbucks right now.
I mean, where's my Starbucks? I actually had Starbucks earlier because I had to walk like a mile to get it.
Hey.
We'll be the Macchiato Alliance. It'll be great.
Yes,
what
macchiato.
Wait. What did you drink? What is your order right now?
I was gonna order a macchiato, but I they were still caramel brulee, so I just decided to get a caramel brulee latte with 4 shots.
So good. Yes, I did caramel macchiato.
I did a white mocha.
I stand iced because I am a true Massachusetts gal. Right
True.
Iced coffee on no matter the season.
Mary saved a lot of money by switching to Chumba Casino. Liska does, besides the Chumba Casino ad, she does bring up a good point. Stan also said that he thought it might be Jeremy going right. So maybe that was an initial plan and Andrew just didn't realize he needed to pivot when Stan was on blue. I think that was in response to me saying that maybe the move was to target Annie instead of Jeremy there. Yeah, I mean, you every player has their own perspective of the game. So from Andrew's perspective, maybe he thought his best move was going after Jeremy because of the fact that he and Veronica were such an obvious duo. So maybe you're not thinking, oh, I should cut the person who's the perceived swing vote. I should cut the person who's on the other side, and then going forward. I think maybe he saw, and I think Naomi made this point in the chat. He saw Annie as a more tenable ally than he did that he ever would see with Jeremy.
Yeah, Naomi also said that Veronica and Jeremy viewed Julia more as like a pawn rather than an equal. And I like even in the small confessionals that Julia has, her reads are just great. She can suss out the vibe of what's happening, and she's playing the long game. I think that players that really think about the long game instead of just like what's happening in this moment are the players that do really well. So I'm really excited to see what Julia has in store.
I think loving Julia right now.
The best.
Love her. Yeah. Her confessionals this episode were so funny too. Like, she was So great, so great. I'm obsessed with the fact that she has an idol. I hope she uses
Yeah.
it in a very menacing way.
I do love the
My
fact
favorite-
that she's always like sitting down and very calm in her confessionals. Like, they think I'm not going to do this, so I'm going to do this. And you're like, oh my god, yes, do it.
My favorite scene, I think my favorite scene of the episode was going into tribal. Her confessional about cutting these people's throats down the line. Like, yes, she sort of conceded the battle here and voted out someone she didn't want to vote out. But in her head, I think she's out for blood with these people, and I think she sees obviously Stan as an ally going forward who wasn't part of this vote. But I think that she's someone at a swap who could be looking for new people, and I think a lot of people are in that boat. We've said that about so many of the different people on the tribes in this during this podcast.
Yeah. I do want to bring up also, like, back to the whole scheming talk from everyone in this tribe. Like, I love how Veronica's like, I'm not scheming now, I'll be scheming later and stuff like that. Like, it's just like you can get so shit faced just watching last time into this and drinking when every time someone's a schemer. I'm just stating, like, that's a drinking game at our next party. Okay.
Now I need to go to. I feel like I'm missing out so much being on a not going to the Survivor New York watch parties. It's very sad. I'm clearly missing a lot of drinking.
Come down. You're always. We might do another bar viewing party at some point if we're able to get the bar on a Friday.
I know it's the matter of like getting there, and
I know. I understand. You're not close really. I mean, you're not far.
I know.
But you're not, and there's also going to be Survivor. There's going to be Survivor 44 coming up pretty soon.
Oh, trust me, I am
so
already
ready.
preparing for.
I got my ticket for VIP for Fair Play and Sandra.
I am planning as we speak for some upcoming Survivor watch events, so awesome. I'm very excited for that.
I'm missing. Yes. I believe Bryce and Wendell are going to be in Boston like a week after I'm going to be in Boston. I'm so sad that it's not the same time.
But they'll be in New York for the finale, I think, right?
Yes, they'll be in New York for the finale.
Yeah, I'm planning. If I can, I am definitely planning on going for the finale. So people coming for Survivor New York watch party, like, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Gia, maybe you should apply for Survivor New York. Maybe.
Yes.
Season 7.
I need like money. But like that requires money and time off, which I am not necessarily going to have at that time. So to be determined. But also I have
TBD.
a bunch of people I know have decided to get engaged, and now I have to actually go. This is like my first year actually having to go to weddings, and I have
go to one today.
Yeah. Gia, you should have picked. You got to pick a job that you get the whole summer off. That's the key.
Right?
I don't know what I would do if I had the full summer. I
would cry if this was me.
Clearly, I just picked the wrong education level as a college employee, but I mean, I do really like my job. I don't know how well I do with like middle schoolers or like young children, to be fully honest. And like, I like working with college students because they're like, adults. You don't have to like handhold. They're adults, so I can just be like, go do this. And they'll be like, okay. And then if not, then it doesn't get done. But it's not my fault because they're adults. So it's got an appeal to it. But also, I am kind of missing not having summers off now because.
Well, you should still play LRGs because you would be great. So
I don't have. Listen, if people want to donate money to the Gia Plays LRGs fund, I like my Venmo is open. It is on my Twitter.
Hey, there's one day game Survivor Brooklyn South, which I'm a big part of. That's a great one. One day.
Yeah, Meg's game is coming up
on a weekend. Oh yeah, Meg's
on a weekend.
Oh yes, one day on a weekend in Brooklyn.
All right. I've never played an LRG.
That sounds like it'd be like a Spike Lee movie. One day on a weekend.
Oh my god! I want no.
Marine Park.
So I love Spike Lee films. Like he is my favorite director. I want Spike Lee to direct an LRG. Like I want him to.
Oh,
yes.
He's not known for putting on fan-made games of reality shows, but I think he would do a really good one.
He does a good documentary though. He does good documentaries.
I bought his book.
Is Survivor a documentary? I think it is.
Technically,
yes.
I think it falls under the category of
it's a documentary.
Okay, if you had to pick a Survivor season to be submitted for a Criterion collection, what season would you pick?
Sorry, can you clarify what a Criterion selection is?
Oh, it's like the fancy like film preservation company. It's like if you like, they're the company that you spend like $40 on their DVDs, basically.
So it has to be like
it tends to be like art house season.
Yeah. So
yeah. I have a
house
couple
Survivor season.
Like an art house Survivor season. Yeah.
Okay. I think for me, I'm gonna choose one that's old school-ish and one that's more new school.
Okay, so let's choose one new school, one old school.
I'm going to choose Micronesia because I feel like that's just a very fun storytelling season. And one of my favorite seasons.
That's like a blockbuster season, though. I feel like that's one that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
like already on. They're already selling like a DVD, Blu-ray extent version of Survivor Micronesia. Like, you know, they.
Oh, how about this? I'll just choose one season then. San Juan del Sur.
That's a good one.
That's a good one I like that one.
I would pick it for the Criterion. It's a good one.
What about like a Vanuatu? I think Vanuatu
it
gets overlooked.
Vanuatu is my immediate answer for.
Can't you see one of these like art house movies where like it's kind of like, you know, the men are cocky at the beginning and then the women are doing better, but in the end a man wins because like that's just the way of the world these days. It's like I think it has that's like storyline. It's not to spoil Survivor Vanuatu, but
how dare you?
The Oscar committee is quaking with your art house suggestion.
I think obviously other than Survivor Vanuatu, which I do genuinely think should be in the Criterion collection because it's such a good storyline and all of the good characters stay until like at least the merge. So it's a banger. Obviously Fiji because it's a tale of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
It wasn't that's just me to tell people to watch Survivor Fiji.
Gia, do you enjoy that season?
No, I don't at all. It's I hate myself for it. Actually,
he hates that season. What are you talking
Dreams
about?
and Cassandra just don't do it for you.
Yeah, but me and Earl Cole are Twitter besties now.
I saw that.
Happy birthday, Earl.
Yes.
I cannot tell. Yes. So but what was it? I was going this with some point. Oh yeah, it is the underdog story and a story of Black perseverance and unity, and we love that for them. And then also, I think the scenery in Guatemala is great. And it has about the same diversity as the people that picked the Oscar movies. So, it sounds like about right. I feel like that is like a art house season.
So you're saying that Guatemala shouldn't be picked, but it would be picked?
No, I think it should be picked. But also I think like if they are picking a season that's like an art house season, they're gonna pick the one with like almost all white people. Okay. Like they are going to be picking Guatemala, but I also really like the scenery in Guatemala, and also Gary Hagaboom Gary Hodkins because he was such a fun player.
So, Gia, I have a question for you. Going back to Survivor New York 5.
Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Davey and I won't react. I'll put my Wombats hat over my head. Davey will put his curve from hat over his head. Who's your winner pick right now? Because we won't say. Davey and I were there, so we won't say anything. I'm not even going to react. I'm putting my hat like this.
Okay. I think now, listen, I got to admit right now, like this boot order is so tragic to me. Like I am not enjoying everyone that is going right now. However, with all of that being said, and there's a larger discussion that I want to have, but not today, about how just like this boot order and some of the tribe dynamics that are happening that I'm not a huge fan of, but I've said it already. I am a really big fan of the Dragonflies. So, and I do have faith that I think one of them is going to win. I'm going to say Julia. I don't have any reason to think that could be it or might not be working, but I know it's like Stan seems to be such a big front runner right now. And it could mean that he just like continues to be a front runner all the way to the end, but I have a lot of faith in Julia's mind for the game, and I'm really impressed with what she's done so far. So I am going to stick with that. I don't know for sure, but like that's where my heart is right now. I think we are going to get a Dragonfly as our winner, though. That would be like my more confident prediction. I thought they were going to win heading into the finale of 43. So like I think like I'm not completely clueless in winner predictions. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, that's an interesting pick. Davey and I are not reacted in any way, positive or negative. Yeah, that was. I think Julia definitely. As we've said, the confessional. Yeah. I think she's so much fun to watch in the confessionals, and like her interactions with other players are like, those I think are always interesting to see, because you kind of see people's relationships based on their interactions. But I think the confessionals are really where she's shined so far on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I think that she is doing a really good job at not showing all of her cards, I think, is something that I'm really liking. I think at some point, like, people recognize that Stan is a front runner, and I think at some point people are going to want to do something about that. I think that Julia is a much more stealthy player from what we have gotten so far, and I would be very happy with the Julia win. So maybe part of it is me just trying to manifest a silent podcaster taking home the W, but I do have actual faith in her capabilities as well. I don't know how the tribe swap is going to unfold, or like what the tribe dynamics are going to be, but I do really enjoy Julia as a player, whether she is next to go where she ends up winning the whole thing. But I really hope it's the latter.
Cool.
No, very nice. I also was thinking about the Criterion situation or the scenario, and I think that Gabon would be a really fun A24.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would watch Gabon.
God, yes.
I would love that. And I low-key really love Panama for its like chaos. So I think that would be my choice, but I also like Gabon too.
Panama's amazing. I think Panama is such an underrated season of Survivor.
Panama's a really good season.
You could do a whole movie if you're just going into like a couple episodes of a Survivor season. You could just do a whole movie that would sort of be a horror show of Anthony and Rocky Reed's relationship in Fiji.
Oh my god!
No,
I want
tough to watch.
Listen, no, they need to re-air Fiji, directed by Spike Lee. And they do like the story that focuses on how we get the final three. Like
one day on a beach in Fiji.
Yes. Like I can picture it now. It's just someone get Spike Lee on the phone, because we're making magic happen here. Like this is that
I see him at Yankee games. I see him at Yankee games sometimes. I'll just yell down, Spike.
Yes,
I want you to direct the next season of Survivor.
I'll hear you.
He answers. He usually has much better seats than I do.
You're gonna. Well, I mean, Jordan, you're gonna have to try to get some of the like VIP seats at some point. We got to make this happen.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll spend thousands of dollers to try to sit next to Spike Lee at a game. He might not show up. It's worth it.
Who is this we? I do not have thousands of dollars.
I mean, neither. Just not a Yankee game now.
Popcorn at them.
Should we talk about?
That's a good plan.
Should we talk about the next episode a little bit, or like for the preview, or?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was going to say that Kayla's still fighting for her life, stands in an amazing position. Drop your buffs. There's Alex Forsenhausler.
Yes. Alex, who's become the Cochran of Survivor New York, he's gonna come in, and he did this on season 4 too. And season 4, the person who got sent to, I think it was Exile Island in that season, Alex was her reward there as well. And Emily Paddock ends up winning the season. So we'll see if Alex is able to go and give some of these players good advice for their game, whoever ends up winning the challenge. So that's always fun. Alex is someone else who is a familiar face at these Survivor New York watch parties.
It'll be one of our later seasons, like one of our later episodes too this season. Cool. We know that for a fact. Like
I'm really excited for the Swappy Baby.
Yeah.
Swap baby.
I love tribe swaps. I miss them in Survivor proper, US Survivor, and I am very excited to see how this turns out. I think that the tribes that we have gotten are a little too, with the exception of Iona, they are a little too comfortable. And I'm excited to hopefully have things be shaken up a little bit, because like the pattern that we have seen so far has been kind of unfortunate about some of these major alliances, a lot of which are not purposefully, but subconsciously like excluding the like POC on their tribes as well. And I just am excited to see some shakeups and to see some of these cross tribal alliances that happened on day 0 come to fruition and to really see things start playing out. And even though we aren't getting footage from day 0, I'm excited to see some of those gaps be connected.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the swap. I think it's gonna be a really fun thing. And also like, there's gonna be like any kind of like advantages thrown in there and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be like really fun.
Yeah,
and
I think we've run our course with the current tribes, and I think this is obviously the swaps are all like scheduled before the season starts, but I think we got as much as we could out of these tribes, and it's time to go to the next phase of the game.
Nice. Anything else you want to talk about in this episode? Or I mean, like Andrew was great. I love him so much. I'm sad that our Maroon King is gone. I'm happy he had a really good last showing. You know what I mean? Like he was fighting hard. And it's a good and was great TV,
Yeah, I always end off the episodes just giving roses. Andrew, you are such a selfless and self-aware person and player. I think that you were robbed. I really think that the next time that you have a chance to play an LRG, you take it, you act in self-interest, and you just like really slay this end part of the game. I think that your showing does not dictate how you're going to play next time, and you can use this experience to really push and catapult yourself towards that end game because you have the propensity for it. Like we are such stands of you, and I just hope that you aren't discouraged from ever playing another LRG, and that when you actually do, you come find us and we'll coach you up.
We'll do it,
and we'll make you.
Oh, I'm so terrible! Don't tell me to coach.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes the people that a coach like Andrew is sometimes going to be someone who is receptive to coaching. But I don't really think Andrew needs that much coaching. I think so much the Survivor is like the tribe you end up with and the circumstances you find yourself in. The person who I think would have been his greatest advocate for staying on the tribe got kidnapped, and I think Andrew's someone who obviously knows the game of Survivor, loves the game of Survivor, has passion for it, and I could just attest to this. I've never played with him, but I've hung out with him multiple times. He's just a very social guy who's easy to get along with, and I think that he does have the skills to do very well in a season. And someone who's a first boot on one season could be a winner on another season. We've seen that happen in the reverse on Survivor. So I'm sure that Andrew, if he plays again in whatever franchise of live games he is, it can absolutely do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Andrew knows, I think, the world of him. Like, I'm so happy to have been able to form a friendship with him through the Survivor Diversity campaign and meeting him through the Survivor watch parties. And he's just a great person to know. And I think that a lot of Survivor is minimizing your bad luck and trying to maximize your good luck. And I think, unfortunately, at this point, like the kidnapping was maximum bad luck for Andrew. So it's very sad, but I do think that there is an LRG experience for him that he will definitely succeed on. This was just a bad luck at its finest in this moment. But I think that, I'm hoping this is not the last we see of him in LRGs and that we'll get to see him play again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. Been such an honor listening to both Jordan and Gia wax beautiful words about like this awesome game, and it makes me so happy.
Love to wax.
Yes, wax.
Wax is the right word. I don't know.
Wax poetic.
Wax poetic.
Yeah.
Giving that Princess Diaries
wax palapple
today. Wax palapple for sure.
And
yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I a little selfishly, I wanted us to have the longest running episode thus far, and we achieved it. So
we did.
And Mark was like, "There's no way we're getting to 90 minutes. We're at 97 minutes and 52 seconds right now."
Please.
Yeah.
You thought we were getting Kalish and Gia, and we weren't gonna talk about like every little thing on the show.
It's like, sorry, I can't be at the wedding. And
I have stuff to do.
Later.
I almost told Mark before this, let's not go more than an hour. But like once we hit the hour mark, it was like we're on a roll here. Let's
we're on a roll.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And like, I just love, I'm a good talker and we have lots of questions to cover and not all of them pertain to Survivor New York. So, it's very important. Yeah.
I really much enjoyed the intersectionality of all pop
Uh-huh.
culture and like
Yes.
Survivor and love. So thank you both so much for coming.
Thanks for having us. This was great.
Thank you.
How can people follow y'all? And anything coming up? I know Gia's working on an amazing project, but I'll let her talk about that when it's her turn or whatever. Yeah.
Jordan, you want to go first?
Sure. You could follow me on Twitter at Jordan Kalish. And I do have something coming up with Rob Has a Podcast in February. We have a tentative date, so I don't want to throw the date out there because it's not 100% confirmed, but we are doing it. We're going to be doing a This Week in Survivor History Ultimate Trivia competition between 3 Survivor legends. We're going to have Marianne Oketch. We're going to have Omer. And we are going to have Zach Wertenberger, 3 Survivor 42 contestants competing in Survivor Trivia. They were talking about this I believe on the plane home from Fiji. So this has been a long time coming. So we're going to be doing it on RHAP.
Oh my God. I'm so excited.
That's so great.
Can't wait.
I love those episodes where you have like the long, like the straight up like hardcore long challenges. They make me so happy.
Yeah. It's
if you need to like have them like phone a friend or just have fans pop in to just let them know how much like people love them.
Well, Gia, you are a very successful Twitch Ultimate Trivia. I don't remember. I remember you were on the. You didn't. Did you win or but you were on the one? No, but you were on the one where
third,
like everyone was
insane.
Close. Like you would. I feel like you would have won like most other games, but I think it was you. It was Lindsay Wilson. It was Sarah, right? Who were just like knew every single question.
Yes. I adore all of them, and I unfortunately am not very good at placement, so that's really where I kind of trip the bag. But if I'm going to lose to anyone, why not it be Sarah Emilio and Dame Lindsay Wilson? So it was it was a very fun time. I will love to come back eventually to reclaim claim for the first time a Twitch crown if we ever bring Twitch back.
Yeah,
common folk.
Well, yeah, we could have a winners at war where all the winners could go against each other, but then we could also have like a second chances ballot where you could get like the Gias and like we'll get Jamal Shipman came on. He came in 3rd place. So like the 3rd place club is pretty strong on Twitch Ultimate Trivia.
Yeah,
we love Jamal.
Oh my God, of course. Like that. But I feel like it needs to happen. Like I don't want to tell you what to do with your brand, Jordan, but like I love competition, so I think we should.
Yeah, I love the brand. I'm always promoting the Kalish brand, and one of those is trivia competitions about Survivor specifically. So yes, and seeds and everything bagels. So that's basically my wheelhouse.
When we hung out last, Jordan did not order everything seed bagel, so I was a little on edge. What? It was during the day. It was during the day.
The morning. It was morning. We got brunch, and I believe I had French toast and bacon, which is a very common diner. I mean, we were at a diner, so it's like not the best bagel location. But I did suggest the place, and I did not suggest a bagel place. So
he did not. He did not. It was very. I was a little surprised. I was a little taken aback. I'm like, oh my God! Like,
how dare you not get an everything bagel? With
like, I'm not saying
thing.
It's your brand, Jordan.
That was a good place.
It was good. It was very good. I think I got chicken and waffles and it was delish. Yes. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not saying we should cancel Jordan for that, but just like keep in mind, sometimes he does not order bagels at breakfast places, and just like be aware of like, this is who you're buying everything bagel t-shirts from.
We should make sure that Marianne, Omer, and Zach know about this so they can like harass them about that in the challenge.
Yes, my eating proclivity should be a big part of that podcast.
Be like, what did Jordan eat for breakfast on December 29th? I can't remember what the exact day was, but it was around then.
That sounds about right. It was right
Christmas
before
time. New Year's.
It was very like it was around that.
I threw a ballpark day out, and hopefully that is correct. They can't prove it, so it's fine. Yes. All right. And Jordan, do you have something else to promote too? I kind of interrupted you.
No, I think I mean we are going to do there was something else. Oh, I mean, look, if you want to, this is something you can only do if you're an RTP patron. If you become an RTP patron, you can play in my Mafia games. That's coming up soon. I don't know the day again, but it's coming up in February at some point. But no, Gia, I believe it's your turn.
All right. So you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Classically Gia. I don't do a ton of reality TV shenanigans on my Instagram, but I do on Twitter and TikTok. Like, it's exclusively for that. And yeah, so follow me there. I think I'm a fun follow. We're talking about Survivor and important topics. Follow the diversity campaign, the Survivor diversity campaign on Twitter at Serve Diversity. Abbott Elementary is back, and so are me and Chappelle recapping our 2 episodes at a time. So bi-weekly coverage. We're on a little bit of a break right now before they come back with their Valentine's Day episode on February 8th. So I'm very excited for that.
They were on a break.
It's been
They were on a break.
No, they were not. And first, oh my God.
I know it's a Friends.
Okay, first of all, Gregory needs to get his shit together, but that's another topic for another day. You guys can.
He does need to get his shit together.
He does. He really does. But you guys will, to figure out what I'm talking about if you listen to our coverage, because I have very specific opinions about that. But anyway, so please listen to it. Abbott Elementary got renewed for season 3, and it is winning all of the awards. So we want people to renew us for season 3 and give us 5 stars and just talk about how like funny and charming and insightful and hot that I am and Chappelle is. So, just think about it, watch it, give us 5 stars, all of the good things. And then finally, so we are in the off season of Survivor right now. So I will be back with my regular season coverage on Silent Podcast with I Don't Know About That for Survivor 44. But until then, we are doing some of my favorite coverage of all time, which is we are covering my favorite season, Survivor Fiji, my submission for the Criterion Collection. And we are doing episode by episode coverage. It has been so much fun so far. And tomorrow I am covering my favorite episode of all time, It's a Turtle, with 2 of the only people that I would trust with coverage this important, which is Aaron Robertson and Joshua Felix. So I cannot wait for
wow.
I take this episode very seriously.
Aaron Robertson, 90% responsible for me winning this hat.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have so many questions now, but I'll save that for the end. So so I'm very excited to finally be talking about it. It's going to be a really fun episode. So please stay tuned, and thank you for the continued support on there. And I'm very hopeful that I'll be able to go to some Survivor watch parties for the Survivor 44 time period. So if you are around, come say hi.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
I'll go, yeah. You can follow me at MarkLevy85 on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. When I'm not podcasting with Davey every week, which will be coming back Tuesday night with episode 5 coverage, guest TBD, but we have some good people possibly lined up. I do talk about Lego Masters also here on Silent Podcasts. Had a very popular episode with Boone, the Lego Masters hero and Lego Masters holiday champion, but one of my favorite people from reality TV in the last few years. And also I'm looking forward to talking more people from Lego Masters while it's in the off season. Also, Isaiah and I will have our top 10 movies of 2022 podcast soon. We're figuring that out. That should be in the next week. Because now the Oscar nominations are out, it's time to do that for sure. Also, like and subscribe to our podcast. It's important to do that because there's some really amazing things out there, and I can't recommend listening to Fiji Forever enough. Gia's podcast is so good, and also listen to the episode that I was on too, but that's different.
And you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, DaveySack, DAVEYYSAK. My TikTok is Knapsack, NAPSAK 96. I don't know what I'm gonna do for my first TikTok. I was very inspired by Gia with her recent TikTok, but I have to memorize the soundbite. So
it's
I don't know
really difficult.
It's very difficult. And when I saw it, I was really drunk. So I was like, oh, let me do this first.
You want to know a secret? My first TikTok that I posted was New Year's Day at 2 a.m, and I was also several drinks in.
That's how you do
the only way to do it.
Only way to celebrate, New Year, new me. I am on TikTok.
I have a TikTok, but I've never actually made a TikTok. I just like to watch other people's.
What would you do? Twitch content or Survivor content?
Well, I don't know, because I've done on the RHAP TikTok, there was a point during, I think it was season 42, or maybe it was also 43. I don't remember. We were doing like Survivor trivia TikToks where it was me sending a video to like Sam Moore and they would put it on the TikTok. So I think that like I'm fine like being on the RHAP TikTok once in a while. I think for my own personal TikTok, I don't know what I would do. I'm sure it would end up being Survivor related because that's why people would end up following me. But I don't know. Maybe it would be Yankee related. I'm not sure. Maybe I take a lot of videos at Yankee games, so maybe that could be part of my TikTok.
We do love Yankees content.
Yeah, we gotta hit another game this season.
Yes. I
Mark and Daveyy, you're invited.
I want to go. I genuinely want to go.
All I'm saying is that like they had a very good come from behind victory, and it
was
may
the best
or
game
may
of the season.
not. Yes, it may or may not
second
have
best
been
game of the season.
No, it was the best game because I was there. So
yes, I agree.
It may or may not have been because I arrived a tad late. So that's what I think was why they won that game. Yes.
You did, the Astros, I believe, what was it, 3 runs in the first inning? This is really what people on the Silent Podcast want to hear. Me recapping the Yankee game last June. But yeah, Gia, when Gia missed the worst part of the game, she was here when the Yankees came back and won the game. Great game for Jose Trevino, Aaron Judge, big names.
Gia needs to be in all the games to go 166 and
I can't believe they haven't sent me a season's pass yet. I am just as shocked as the rest of you.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. 1 hour and 50 minutes. We did it.
Let's do 2 hours.
We did a job.
I gotta eat my house.
I had plantain chips before, so you all should have been prepared ahead of time. They were delicious.
That's fair.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all next time.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.